All right, welcome to the All American Hoots podcast. This is episode 62. As per usual, I'm joined by my older brother, John Driscoll.
Hey, H, thanks for having me today, man.
Absolutely. So our younger brother, Matt, will be joining us in a couple seconds. It's the first time ever he's the one having technical difficulties, not myself, so definitely a good feeling to have. We're bummed to not have him for at least a few minutes, so hopefully he'll be joining us in a few seconds, but not for now. Quite unfortunate, but he did, however, as per usual, make me a really good dinner as well. So we're very happy about that. But so tonight he made some sausage and peppers with pasta. So it was very, very tasty. So I was very happy about that. But John, any number 62s come to mind by any chance?
Yes, I'm very happy to be here for the Jose Quintana podcast.
Hell yeah!
That's why there really wasn't anybody else that came to mind. I don't think there really is anybody else.
There is no one else that comes to mind for myself either. Who was, according to Basketball Reference, Bob Dill, who played for the Detroit Falcons in 1947, and Seth Pollard, who played for the Indiana Pacers from 2004 to 2006, wore the number 62. So, yeah, I feel like 62 is a number that you don't wear for that long. So, yeah, 3 years being the longest with only two guys, that definitely makes sense. We already got a couple comments to start. Yeah, Matt's claiming his laptop stinks. Jose Quintana, who's the center that he's talking about? Is it? I don't even know. That shows my football knowledge. But is it Jason Kelce? Did he wear 62? I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. I'm assuming.
Yeah, he did wear that. I never thought about that. It's good that we never thought about it.
Yeah, right. As we get to the 60s, we'll get I think next few weeks we'll be getting into a lot of old Mets relievers for a lot of the 60s episodes. Those will be fun. And then after that, we'll kind of fall off a cliff, and then we still got a few months for that. But like once we get to the hundreds, we have to figure out what new introduction we're going to do. We'll probably do something with stats, but we'll see. Okay, so John couldn't make last week's episode because he was seeing Harry Potter on Broadway. How was that?
Oh, it was tremendous. Really, really fun time. It was a lovely anniversary gift from my girlfriend, and we had a blast. We got, I will say, just as a word of advice, if you go there, do not get the butterbeer. And I've always wanted to get the butterbeer because it's like, a Harry Potter staple. I've always wanted it. It was $12 for this little pint, and it was pretty much just like flat apple juice. It wasn't anything like, I wanted it to be like sudsy, bubbly, but I digress.
That's a bummer.
Guys, we got 2 pints of butterbeer and 2 waters, and it was like $50.
Oh my god. That's like, people talk about how concession stands are always expensive. I guess you never really think about that at the theater though, so it definitely makes perfect sense. But so at last week's episode, Matt and also other no disrespect to Matt McCann. He's we don't even call him the other Matt, but he contributes a lot to the show. But both Matts came on the show last week, in which we gave our picks for the All-Star reserves. So that was after the All-Star starters were announced, and now same deal as this week. Since we record on Thursdays, they announced the All-Star reserves 1 week later. So just about an hour ago, a little over an hour ago, this part like closer to an hour and a half ago, they announced the All-Star reserves. So personally, we'll talk about the East first. So before we talk about the East, we'll give it before we talk about the East, now joining us is the unofficial host of the podcast, Matt Driscoll. Are you on your laptop or your phone? It looks like you're on your laptop. Or is it something?
I'm on my laptop. Can you guys hear me, by the way?
Yes, we can.
All right, good. My laptop started working. It took like 40 minutes to turn on. And then I went to get mom's laptop, her work laptop, and her internet access is blocked.
I completely forgot about that, actually.
Right?
Because
I forgot about it too.
Because there was the one episode where I was planning on going solo anyway. I forgot which episode it was, but I was planning on going solo. So like I once I used lots of, but then I asked you to use yours. You're like, yeah, you can, but good luck. So ends up seeing the funniest thing was getting all the iMessages getting all in at once. I'm trying to not get your notifications. I don't want to read your messages, but they were just exploding and there was no way of closing out of it. So that was fun.
The they're starting to turn on right now, so I'm gonna go on do
Oh.
not disturb so we don't hear.
How nice. Okay. So Matt, right before you got on, we were talking about how last week we gave our here's other Matt giving a comments. So last week Matt and I gave our picks for the All-Star reserves, in which we it was right after the starters were announced, so we picked our reserves. And so we'll talk about the East first. So I personally went 5 for 7. So the Eastern Conference All-Star reserves, by the way, are I'll go straight up position, are Damian Lillard, Darius Garland, Cade Cunningham, Tyler Hero, all the 4 guards, and then the 3 front courts are Jaylen Brown, Evan Mobley, and Pascal Siakam. The way they do it is, it's, as I mentioned last week, it's the 2 guards, 3 front court, and 2 wild cards. They never establish who is who, so that's why I just said there's 3 guards and 4 front court. So that's how it was set up. So I personally went 5 for 7. I had Jared Allen making it over Pascal Siakam, and I had Tyrese Halliburton making it over Tyler Hero. So I'm not upset about either of those picks, honestly. Obviously it was my pick, and I stand by it. But however, Pascal Siakam is one hell of a basketball player, NBA champion. Always give the Celtics troubles. Kicked our butt last year in the playoffs, and I'll comment on that in a second, Matt. But yeah, so 5 for 7 personally, and Tyler Hero, who I'm not a fan of at all, honestly. Yeah, he's a Miami Heat, who's my least favorite team, probably besides the Lakers. And I personally would have went with another Pacer instead of Siakam. I would have went with Tyrese Halliburton. I think that he's the at the end of the day, he's the offensive engine of that team. Even though he's not as good as he was last fall, beginning of last season, he's still putting together an awesome year. He's averaging 18 and I think it's 19 and 8, something like that, on pretty good efficiency. So, but not mad at the Tyler Hero section at all. But John, I was wondering if you had any takeaways on the reserves.
Yeah, I don't really have any huge gripes. I think if I were to complain about one thing, I think my number one snub, and this is going to sound pretty crazy because he's on a pretty poor team this year, is Tyrese Maxey. I think that if you're going to replace one guy on here with Maxey, it would be Tyler Hero, because Tyler Hero has pretty good counting stats, 24, 5, and 5. But are the Miami Heat really head and shoulders above the Philadelphia 76ers? They're only 4 games up on them in the standings. I get one of them is in the playoffs right now. But bias aside, everything else aside, these are 2 shit teams. So if you're gonna compare the 2, and you know what? They're kind of similar teams, really, because Hero and Maxey, 2 young good players, and 2 absolute bums as quote unquote superstars. It's weighing them down, guys who just won't play. But Maxey's giving you 27, 3.5, and I think 6, in addition to 2 steals per game. I know we're big Maxey guys on this podcast, but I don't know. I don't think that the Miami Heat, being 4 games up on a Sixers team that has had 10 games from Joel Embiid this year, that record does not validate the gap in statistical performance. And I think Maxey's a much better player than Tyler Hero. I also will say, not to take too many talking points away, Chris, I do disagree with you about Jared Allen. Let's be honest here. The Celtics got 2 All-Stars last year. It's very, very hard for a team to get 3, let alone 4. And Jared Allen is averaging 14 and 10. I know everything's not about stats. He's a very good defensive player, but it must be pretty fun and easy, and you can play pretty free when you have Evan Mobley down on the block with you as well. So again, not to take too much away from his defensive game, I just think that if you're going to have 4 All-Stars, you have to be, and record-wise, they are kind of running away with the East here. But I don't think he's good enough statistically to, steal. Actually, you know what? If you want to say he could steal Tyler Hero's spot, fine. But I wouldn't really put him there.
Yeah, so the only reason why I put him there is because a guy like we talked about last week on the pod, but the East front court is very weak. So most seasons, and we could talk about it in a second, but I don't know if the way that Jaylen Brown's been playing the past few weeks, other than the past couple of games, I don't know if he would have made it, but he was a lock because of how weak it is, and the argument with the Celtics only having 2 last year, which is a very good argument, but however, when I'm building my team, I'm doing it based off my criteria, and based off my criteria, I would have had Porzingis make it last year. So, and the difference between the Celtics and the Cavs is that the Celtics have a superstar in Jason Tatum, a top 5 player, and they have last year. I thought that Jaylen Brown was playing like a top 15, like definitely top 20, probably top 15 player. The Cavs have Donovan Mitchell, who is. I said last weekend, like a kind of like over exaggerated, like over exaggerated that he's top 10. He's not top 10 player. He's at best top 15. And hey Matt, yes, the Cavs are great because of their depth and their coaching and by depth I mean also depth in the starting lineup. So there is certainly an argument to obviously, yeah, it's a good as to why like Jared Allen isn't statistically good enough, but I do however think that I think that he finished top 10 in DPOY voting last year. He's a better, in my opinion, a better player than Mobley. So I think the part of the reason that the Cavs are so filthy is because of how deep their starting lineup is. But again, Siakam is like the better individual player. So if we're talking about a guy who's going to be the better player like as the second option, a first, second, third option is without a doubt Siakam, even without the option probably, but yeah, Allen making the All-Star game would have been more of like a respect thing to the Cavs than to Allen himself. It would have been kind of like a 2015 Hawks thing. But
he's also probably one of like the worst, like outside of like I don't know Gobert, like he's not really like primed for the All-Star game.
No,
I've never really seen like take a jump shot before.
That's also true. Yeah, absolutely. There's also they played a couple years ago in Cleveland in which he made the team. I think that was a big reason why he made the team in the first place. But yeah, like it's not a hill that I'm going to die on. Like I'm happy with my pick and I stand by it. But Siakam, like I'm also a huge fan of Siakam, so I don't blame him. But Matt, any takeaways?
Yeah, sorry. I don't know if you guys saw that I left the studio for a second there. So having some technical issues still. My laptop sounds like it's going to explode. But I don't know if you said it. I went 4 for 7, I believe, on my picks. I have them right in front of me. So my guys that I didn't have in were Maxey, who we kind of discussed, John. I totally agree. Tyler Hero's on my fantasy team, so happy my fantasy team got some love. But I do think Maxey's a better player, and I think he's having a better season. Hero is like significantly more efficient though. And then I also had Jalen Johnson, who wouldn't have mattered anyway. He, news came out a couple days ago. They had the maybe it was yesterday, had the season-ending injury. But yeah, so I guess I went 5 for 7 here because I had Garland too. But yeah, a couple snubs that I thought were in the comment section, someone said Trae Young. He was on my honorable mentions. I would personally pick for this season. I would personally have Maxey and Tyler Hero over them, but yeah, not really any massive gripes.
Yeah, it seems this is the third year in a row that Trae Young didn't make the. I think 2 years ago he didn't make the All-Star team altogether. I think last year he didn't make it at first, and then got on as an alternate. I don't know if any of these guys are going to not be healthy for the All-Star game. I'm not sure, but I'd imagine that either he or Maxey or someone else would have been the first guy up. But I don't know what it is with Trae. He has a very. I don't want to say I don't want to say he has like a Jimmy Butler or an Anthony Edwards PR team, but like it's a very interesting PR team because he is one of the best offensive players in the league. Objectively, he's one of the better playmakers. He's great at taking shots from deep, even if he's not as efficient. And but at the end of the day, like I just feel like overall effectiveness, he's not someone that I want to build my team around to win a lot of games, unless it's like a perfectly built team. So. But like every year, like when he does make it, it's about how he's the most disrespected player in the league. So, is he a better player than Tyler Hero? Without a doubt. But for this year, am I taking? It's about the same. I don't really know.
I feel like you either fall on one side of the spectrum of absolutely loving Trae Young, or the other side is absolutely hating him. There's not a lot of guys in the middle.
I'm one of those guys. Really, I used to be the guy that hated him, but yeah, I've kind of fallen down the middle because, Yeah, I guess that's me. I guess I'm the anti-establishment guy. I really just hate. I go against what the crowd thinks about controversial players. But
Matt in the comment section mentioned LaMelo Ball. I don't know if anyone discussed him yet, but
we did not actually.
Yeah, I don't think LaMelo should have been in the All-Star game at all. He's played like 25 games or something like that, and he's already injured again. He's gonna be reevaluated in a week.
Yep.
At some point you got to count games played. Like, that's why Franz or Paulo also didn't make it. But yeah, I mean, he does have impressive stats, but definitely not upset that he didn't make it at all. I'm actually kind of happy he didn't.
He's also on an awful team. Like, we want to talk about, like, the Sixers are bad, the Heat are bad, yeah, but I think the Hornets are like a tier or two below them.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned before, Matt, Maxi's not exactly efficient, but LaMelo Ball makes him look pretty efficient.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Yeah, I think that's all we got. Yeah, I guess he's like, this is like another one. So we got players that are on the one spectrum with like the very pro young. The players that love Trae Young are no, sorry, not the players. The fans that love Trae Young are also the fans that hate Jaylen Brown. That's one thing I've realized. Which I don't like. Well, it does make sense to me because like one of them is like very pro analytics. Like he like takes a lot of threes and like gets like a lot of assists. And Jaylen Brown on the other hand, he's a great scorer and also plays great defense. But like that doesn't show up on like the impact sheets. First of all, it's 3 front court guys. Like I've already seen, like Joe Star, Jokic, and Mars were saying that Jaylen Brown shouldn't have made it, and everything. But at the end of the day, like I read this in my article. I think Jaylen Brown is one of and this is a very Thaddeus Young stat. But hang on, let me whatever I done about Jaylen Brown. I said he's averaging 23, 6 and 1.3 steals per game, which the other ones are Jokic, Tatum, Luka, and AD. So you're in that type of company by being one of the better two-way players in the league. I'm not saying that Luka is a two-way player when I say that, by the way. I just want to make that clear. But Jaylen Brown is he's still finding a way to. He's been playing very bad the past few weeks, but like he's still finding a way to make it win. And it's in a weak position, he 100% deserves to be the All-Star.
Yeah, he has pretty ugly shooting splits, but he's taken a huge leap playmaking wise.
Absolutely,
and I think that kind of goes unnoticed. He's nearly averaging 5 assists a game. I don't think we ever imagined that, especially like to take a leap in year, what is it, 8 or 7? Maybe
9, I think.
9? Yeah. You can see it's nice to see sometimes an all-star committee award somebody who's clearly making a sacrifice. And sometimes it's hard to keep up your efficiency. When people think that if you take less shots or, you're not shooting as much, your efficiency should increase. That's not the case. I think some could argue that if you're shooting more, getting in more of a groove, I don't think there's a correlation between either way. But I think Jaylen Brown is definitely worthy of that spot.
Through 40 games, to quote Dan Greenberg, through 40 games played, Jaylen Brown already has 18 games of 5+ assists. Last season, he had 20 total in 70 games.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
I'm trying to pull up the stat. It's like kind of an ESPN stat, not as much of a Thaddeus Young stat as you said, Chris, but there are 33 ball handlers that are scoring 20 plus points per game this season. They usually don't guard each other, but these are the high scoring ball handlers that have spent the most time tightly guarding another high scoring ball handler this season, and Jaylen Brown is one on that list. Registering 94 minutes guarding another high-scoring ball handler. So it just shows they rewarded the sacrifice playmaking.
And was Tatum on that list?
Tatum was number 6. The names are kind of surprising on this list. It's Brown, and then Levine is number 2, but like who else would be guarding a ball handler on the Bulls?
Yeah.
And then Garland, Ant, your boy Ant, Chris, at 4, Kyrie at 5, and Tatum at 6. But Brown has the most minutes.
Kyrie, wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Well, then again, who's the perimeter defender on the map?
True.
So,
Klay Thompson, obviously. So, yeah, that does make perfect sense. Cool. Yeah. So, yeah, good stuff. I guess we'll shift over to the West now. So the West's All-Star reserves are. So we'll go by position again. So the guards were James Harden. Who's the other guard? Don't say it. James Harden, Anthony Edwards, and then I think there were 5 front courts. It was Victor Wembanyama, Anthony Davis, Alperen Sengun, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Jalen Williams. So again, I was 5 for 7 here as well. So I do think that Sabonis should have made it over J-Dub as like the last what do you call it?
Wild card.
Yes, the last wild card in my opinion. I feel like they're just rewarding the best team to make sure they have two, like a hand done. They've been hits on the best team. to have that. And then, I personally had Kyrie Irving over James Harden. Which I feel like they're in kind of similar situations. Like Kyrie's in a better situation because he did have Luka for 22 games and Harden's only had Kawhi for about 10 now. But at the end of the day, both of them have been leading their team, and Kyrie's just been doing it on so much better stats and efficiency. So, I've gained respect for James Harden in the past couple of years because he's like changed his game based on his aging. But I definitely would have gone with Kyrie over James Harden. Matt, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, Chris, you mentioned this in our fantasy basketball group chat. You said like James Harden is being like praised for like this carry job of the Clippers, quote unquote. But their real identity and their real carry job this year has been their defense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where they're ranked now, but a couple weeks ago I believe they were like third in the NBA for defense.
I was doing this right before I was on. I believe they were third or fourth. I think elite defense. And John, you also said this in our fantasy group chat. Like Harden has definitely been the best player on the Clippers, but you could argue that like Norman Powell or Zubac are more impactful. And then they're second on defense. Second,
Chris?
yep,
wow,
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and I personally had De'Aaron Fox as the biggest snub out of the West. I can't believe he didn't make it. I had him over Kyrie and J-Dub. So, and Sabonis I had over both of them as well. So, I'm shocked that the Kings didn't get any love.
Norman Powell should be in over James Harden. James Harden is, like you guys mentioned a few times, carry job. I totally disagree. He gives you, what is it, like 21, 22, and 7.8 or 8 assists a game on pretty awful efficiency. He's not getting to the line as much as he used to, and you're seeing it show up in his efficiency section. Norman Powell is giving you 24, 2, and 2 on nearly 50 and 44 splits with really, really good defense. I think that goes unmentioned. And when you're comparing two players, obviously the All-Star game, you're not really going to value defense as much. But when you're comparing two players, especially on the same team, more impactful, people, will obviously say James Harden's more impactful given the assist numbers and playmaking as a whole. But you want to talk about a guy who's, this isn't just a 3-and-D guy anymore. He's giving you 24 a night,
right?
And with elite defense. And correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm stepping out of bounds on Powell's defense, I've always known him as a very good defender. Matt, I agree with you that Fox was a snub too. I'm not really sure who you take over. Whether it is Harden or I don't really think you can. Yeah, it's tough. It's not like you can remove J-Dub or anything like that, given how good the Thunder are this year. Because people might argue that it doesn't matter. You just got to vote for the better player. I think you can't have only one player from the Thunder this year,
right?
Even though the one might be the MVP favorite, he is not the only reason why the Thunder are who the Thunder are this year.
No, they're not. I was told Shea's been carrying them all year long, and that he's the only player that can do anything on offense. That's what I've been told.
That also is the reason why Sengun made the All-Star game. I don't know if you went there, John, but I'm kind of cutting in and out. But the Rockets are 2 seeds, so I mean that's why they also had 2 guys. Yeah, and Clippy in the comment section also said something similar. I personally, I get Sengun. I had him in my list, but I would have taken Sabonis over Sengun, I think.
Sabonis, I think, is one of the most disrespected guys in the league.
It's unbelievable.
He's given you 21, nearly 15, and 6.5 assists a game on 61% shooting.
He's leading the league in rebound.
Name another guy that's like not Jokic that like can put up that stat line on a consistent basis.
I think he's like second in the league in 3-point percentage too, or something like that. Second or third.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I used that. He's go, John.
Like Sengun is really great, but again, like you mentioned, second in the West in a good Western Conference, you can't not have a guy from there. So it really did come down to, like you look at the West reserves right now, really hard, aside from Harden, to like get somebody out of there, right? Because I think like next person out would probably be after Harden and Sengun would probably be Jaren Jackson, and I think he's had an awesome year, especially as of late.
Yep.
So I don't think these snubs are as ridiculous outside of the Harden thing we talked about. I don't think the West Conference snubs are as arguable as the East, just because there's just a lack of spots.
That's the unfortunate scenario for a lot of these. So yeah, I do want to go back to De'Aaron Fox for a second, because so I came on plug my article, but like I went with like I essentially went with Kyrie over Fox because of their overall impact. Kyrie's impact for the Mavs, he's the Mavs are at a 5.5 plus 5.5 with Kyrie on the on off, and then Fox is at a negative 3.6. Sabonis is at a plus 10. So I always thought that that Fox was like the clear leader on the team. It's and I still think he is like the emotional leader. But who's been the more impactful player? It's been Sabonis without a doubt. Which we'll talk more about Fox later. Like with his trade value, because like that'll be very very interesting to say the least. But I don't know. It's like this was a very tight interesting case here. By the way, another Steve Kerr moments. Remember when he played Devin Booker all those minutes over Jason Tatum in the Olympics, and Devin Booker didn't even make the damn All-Star game this year. James Harden made it over Devin Booker. That's just absolutely people talk about how like Donovan Mitchell like fell off after joining the Cavs. I can't think of a bigger fall off than Devin Booker. He's been great as of late, but like to not make the All-Star game.
Devin Booker is the only star in the league that gets a pass for being 2 games over 500 with Kevin Durant.
Yep.
I'm not as much of a Devin Booker hater as you guys, but I thought it was interesting that none of us even like thought to mention him for the snubs.
Well, yeah, because he gets put in conversations he doesn't belong in.
I had him on my honorable mentions. Like we mentioned everyone here, because like my honorable mentions were Fox, J-Dub, Booker, and Harden. So J-Dub and Harden ends up making it. But the two that didn't make it for me, as I mentioned, were Sabonis and Kyrie. So I don't think again, like I don't know if any of these guys are going to be injured. I guess AD might be injured because it's a weak thing for him. So I guess they'd probably plug in. I don't even know who they plug in. I guess they'd probably plug in Fox or Sabonis, but we'll see what happens there.
Devin Booker's also down in every statistical category.
Yep.
This year,
Points,
rebounds, assists, efficiency, all down.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, cool. So now we'll go on to the other portion of the show. Imagining this one won't go as long because so next we have the talk about our mid-season awards. We're about halfway through the season now, so we are going to be covering who's going to win each award. Biddies, is that Biddies? I'm sure. So
it is, guys. Look at how I split this G.
Oh, how nice! Look at that. And then I just opened up the wrong agenda. And then after that, we have the trade deadline being a week away, so that'll be a very interesting thing. So first, we'll just start off with our We'll start off with the standard award. We'll start off with the MVP. You know what? I'm gonna go first. I usually let you guys go first because I feel like that's my responsibility as host. But like, yeah, we'll switch. We'll shake things up today because I think you guys are gonna have the same pick as me probably. Maybe not, but as of now, I do think it's pretty clearly Shea. He's leading. I always think it's interesting how the narrative changes on certain years because lately it's been like mostly individual stats and like who covers up all the individual stats, especially as we're becoming more technologically advanced with everything. So between being the best player on the best team and also being the second best player at covering all the analytic stats. So I don't know if any of you have Jokic, so like it's kind of like the narrative argument where like Jokic has all the event stats to win MVP, but like do we want to give him his 4th MVP in 5 years, especially after losing the second round last year? I don't know how much photo fatigue is a thing in the NBA today, but it should be an interesting thing to see how the voters cover it now. But as of now, Shea is negative 500 in DraftKings odds. So, John, I don't know if you have any opinions on that.
Yeah, I think it's Shea. I mean, he's averaging nearly 33 a game, and while it's funny because Jokic is averaging a triple double on like better efficiency, he has 57-47 splits. It's the stats for Jokic are ridiculous, right? And if it was all about stats, he'd probably be winning again. But the fact of the matter is, although Shea has a significantly better team, his team is 10 games better than Jokic. And again, could be a testament to the quality of the team. But I just don't think I don't think you can ignore the impact of Shea. And Shea's better on the defensive side of the ball too. So I think it's hard to find an argument outside of whether you want to call them filler stats or counting stats for Jokic, but yeah, it's SGA for me.
Yeah, I nothing really else to add. I have SGA as well. He's leading the league in scoring, on the best team in the West. Lead on both sides of the ball as well. So yeah, I think it's his award to lose.
Definitely agree with that. And I guess Matt, if you want to go on to DPOY, you want to cover that?
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't have the odds up, but I think Wemby was minus like what 200 or something like that.
I thought it was higher than that. I thought it was like minus 800.
I thought it was like 900, minus 900. Yeah.
Oh, really? I mean, yeah, I think he's going to win like the next 10. But if it's a non-Wemby to win the award, I have Evan Mobley. I love Evan Mobley's game. He's on I think the Cavs still have the best record in the league, right, Chris?
I think it's the Thunder now because the Cavs went on their losing streak, but I could be wrong.
Right. Yeah. So best record.
It's still the Cavs. Yeah.
Best record in the league. I don't think their defense is one. The Cavs. I don't have it above.
No, the Cavs aren't even in the top 5. I think they're like number 8.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. That's but Evan Mobley and Jared Allen need a ton of credit for having an elite defense. I mean, I thought it was top 5, but I guess top 10 in the league when their front court is 2 undersized guards. So a lot of props to Evan Mobley.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think we're all in agreement that it's Wemby, and yeah, I agree he's probably going to win for the next 10 years, and they should really look into making a secondary award or something like that for a non-big man, because I think the award is so skewed that way because the voters in the league value rim protection, rightfully so, but there's still a lot of great defenders that prioritize perimeter defense, and I think that's becoming more and more valuable as the game kind of grows to this big spacing. So guys like Dort, even SGA, it's important to recognize them. And I know you don't really need too much incentive if you're competing for a championship. That should be the only incentive you need. But it would be nice to kind of reward these guys for putting a lot of effort in there. But if I were to actually round out my top 3, it'd probably be Wemby and Mobley, and I put Jaren Jackson there too. Mm-hmm. I know I'm biased. He's on my fantasy team, but he's really, really great player. And I think I said that we need to reward these perimeter players. My top 3 is all 3 big men, but what are you going to do, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Wemby.
So I'm going to quote my friend Tyler Britton, who was on the show a few months back, aka Hoop Venue. So he tweeted, "I think Wemby would be my DPOY right now, but it's weird how the race is completely devoid of criteria. The last player to win DPOY on a non-top 5 defense was Marcus Camby 2007. The Spurs currently 16th in defense. It'd be like if the MVP missed the playoffs. So that's interesting. And then someone even more interesting was the follow-up. So if you had to give it to someone who plays for a top team and for a team that's top 5 in defense right now, who would you give it to? Do you guys know the top 5? Yeah, you want to list the top 5 defenses?
Yes.
We went over a couple of them. So yeah, want to try? Want to take a whack at it?
The Celtics.
Celtics are number 5.
The Clippers.
The Clippers number 2.
The Thunder.
Thunder number 1.
Okay.
The Rockets.
Rockets number 4.
And what are we missing? 3?
Missing number 3.
Is it the
Right.
Grizzlies?
Not the Grizzlies. It's another team that's well known for their defense and being pretty brutal at offense. Very annoying team to play against.
Magic.
The Magic.
Yeah.
So he said so he said it's really tough because all of the top defenses are are elites collectively and don't have one impact juggernaut. So the Thunder have J-Dub, Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, and Kason Wallace, all plus to great defenders. The Clippers have Chris Dunn, Derek Jones Jr., and Ivica Zubac. Again, I wouldn't say I guess you could say Zubac is great, but like I would say Dunn and DJJ are very very good to great. Magic, Suggs, elites, Jonathan Isaac, elites, Goga, very good, Franz, very good. Rockets, Amen, elites, Tari Eason, very good. Dylan Brooks, screw that guy, but very good. And then Celtics, Tatum, White, Drew, and Porzingis, who hasn't really played a ton, honestly. Okay, yeah, he's played more lately, actually, so I'll give him credit there. But I would say if you were to ask me to list the top 10 defenders, maybe Dort's in the top 10, like at the players that I just listed. Maybe.
Yeah, he is.
Well, I'm talking like if we list like just like the rim defense, yeah, you could say Dort's. You can maybe say Jonathan Isaac. If we're not factoring in
Dort's top 5 in depoy odds.
That makes sense. Yeah. But like if I'm talking like defensive players top of my head, it would be like you name the top 3. Like it would be Wemby, Jaren, Mobley, and then the other. And I guess like, we didn't even include like the guys who have like the name recognition, including Gobert, Draymond, Bam.
What is this? 2019?
No, it's 2025. If it was 2024, I would have said those guys. Maybe not Draymond, but definitely to Gobert and who's the other one that you said? Bam. Yeah. But so yeah, but like out of those guys I listed, maybe Dort would be a contender. If Jonathan Isaac played enough games, he would definitely be a contender, but he just doesn't. And I guess Amen would maybe be one, but I don't know. We could talk about him later too, but the discourse around him has been weird, by the way. Like I'll say that, but like we'll hop back to that in a second. And then the last thing that I saw from the thread, I saw him like, so someone said, what's the defensive rating when he's on the court versus off the court? So he used the 3 big names. So Wemby currently has the Spurs have a 110.7 off defensive rating with him on the court and 121 with him off the court. That's an 11-point difference on the defensive end solely. And then Evan Mobley 110 to 115, and then Jaren Jackson 107 to 111. So we got 11, 5, and 4 point difference on the defensive end. So yeah, it goes back to what I said earlier. Like they don't really. It sounds like they're not really going to care about winning too much. It's going to be mostly individual, which I'm fine with. Like it would be nice if they did include some team stats in this, but kind of sounds like they're going away with it, which is fine. Yeah. Like I know that some people really support that. I'm kind of 50-50 on it, but it is interesting how top 5 defenses really only one player has an argument to be a top 10 defensive player. Cool. All right. So and then we got 2 more. I guess we could do Coach of the Year next. I'll do that one first, actually. So because I feel like we're gonna have the same answer. It's Kenny Atkinson. Like I've always been a big Kenny Atkinson guy. I was saying back in 20, I think it was after the 2022 season, when the Hornets had just fired their head coach. I said Kenny Atkinson should be the guy that they pick up, and they did pick him up, and then he stepped down because I know that I used to talk to my roommate James, who I just visited him this past weekend. He's a big Nets fan. He was talking about how much he loved Kenny and how upset he was when he left. But yeah, I've always been a big fan of JB Bickerstaff. I thought he was good with the Cavs, but it was just clearly time to turn the page, and it was right. Atkinson has been the guy to motivate the locker room to be their best. I would definitely go with Kenny Atkinson.
Yeah, I also have Kenny, but like pretty not like very close behind him. But my second pick is Taylor Jenkins.
Yep.
I think he's done a terrific job with the Grizzlies. And we were saying this earlier, Chris. Ja really hasn't played a lot of games, or really when he's played, he hasn't really played that well. I mean, their roster is still pretty solid. You know, you got Jaren Jackson Jr. and loyal legend, loyal product, Santi Aldama coming off the bench. He's been solid for them. But not a ton of like star power on the Grizzlies. They're just very well coached. They'll defend. Their offense isn't as bad as I thought it would without Ja, and I think a lot of that is because of coaching.
It's funny you say Taylor Jenkins because I was looking at the odds before, and I was looking for him in like the top 3. He's 12th
No, he's not. Is
in
he?
odds right now. Yeah, and
That's
I
ridiculous.
wish that. I mean, this is Vegas Insider, so I don't think there would be too much of a difference, but yeah, I think that. Excuse me. I think that Kenny Atkinson is going to win Coach of the Year, and rightfully so. I just think that the kind of the narrative changes every year, or like the criteria changes, and I don't really think it's too fair. I think Kenny Atkinson's done a great job in pushing the Cavs over the limit here, but how much of the Cavs' success is coaching, and how much of it is just the fact that they've stayed relatively healthy all year?
True.
Right? Because
Yeah.
in past years, the Cavs have always been kind of this sneaky team that like glides around the top 4 or 5, depending on the year. But they've always had injury problems with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley.
Mhm.
Donovan Mitchell gets hurt occasionally, and so does Darius Garland.
Mhm.
They've all stayed relatively healthy this year. And not to discredit Kenny Atkinson here, but I think the criteria does change a little bit every year. It's kind of turned into like whichever team is the most surprising wins Coach of the Year, right? And I think that we talked about it. The Cavs have 3 All-Stars this year. Some people believe they should have 4. Chris, you were one of them. The Celtics roster was held against Joe Mazzulla last year. The Celtics ran away with the entire league. They ran through the playoffs. Yep. They ran through the regular season. They won the East by like 14, 15 games, and yet they only had 2 All-Stars and 1 all NBA player. So, like, what's the argument here? I mean, we're talking last year, this year, but like it's not aligned. I feel like the Celtics are getting a little. You either have to give credit where it's due with All-Star appearances and all NBA, or you have to credit the coach.
Mm-hmm.
I know Brad Stevens won Executive of the Year last year, obviously, but like that shouldn't be where the acknowledgement is recognized. So I think it's you kind of have an issue with that, but it is Kenny Atkinson.
John, DraftKings has Jenkins tied for 5th right now, so better than 12th, but still surprising that it's 5th.
Yeah, because I would put him top 3, if not 2.
And he's plus 3,000. Like, there's no shot he's going to win it. Atkinson's minus 300, and Ime's at second at plus 370, which I don't mind either. I mean, those Rockets are also pretty surprising, and I never thought about the criteria for Coach of the Year, but I totally agree that it's the most surprising team. It's funny that JB Bickerstaff is 3rd. I mean, it's plus 2,500, so he won't win either. But Cavs coach last year and Cavs coach this year, both in the top 3.
Does that have Mazzulla at 2?
No, this has Mazzulla. Let me see, 1, 2, 3.
Tied for 6th. But it is 8th. Sorry,
8th, yeah. Tyronn Lue
what is
ahead of Mazzulla?
Like, what is that about? Like,
which because they're worse than last year. That's why, and it's not fair. Yeah, it's that's the only reason why. But yeah, he finished 4th last year, which was utterly ridiculous. Because
they want to cite the roster. They want to cite how good the roster is, and yet they don't reward the roster. You have to have 1 or 2 benefits.
The media's way of justifying it is voting Jason Tatum first team All NBA, but still constantly leaving him out of top 5 talks. So it's ridiculous how the media's transitioned there. But we did have one more award. I think we're just going to glance over it though, because 6th man of the year, it's Payne Pritchard. I hope you guys agree with me. Do you?
He's running away with it. Yeah,
he's running with it. Yep.
14 game on 46, 47 and 42 splits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Shout out Santi Aldama though, loyal legend.
Is he second?
No, DeAndre Hunter's second, which is cool.
That's cool.
Naaman Thompson is at plus 800. He's already started 16 games though, so I think he's gonna eventually start like definitely over 25 games this year, and that's too many games to be in consideration for me.
Matt, did you listen to Bill Simmons either yesterday or today?
No.
So Simmons and Russillo were talking about so Simmons made his top 100 most tradable greatest assets. So that's not a top 100 list. It includes future and your contract and everything. So I don't know, I don't know how to compare who Amin Thompson is to, because people keep on saying Ben Simmons, but and I don't even know who to compare him as a player. But I'm trying to think of the situation. I feel like we're getting prematurely. He's becoming. He's not. I don't want to say overrated, because people haven't been putting him in discussions yet. But people are saying he's going to be the guy to build around in the future. But he played. Yeah, it feels like a situation where he played awesome last night, and the Rockets still not last 2 nights ago, and the Cavs still have a very good record, but. I don't know if you guys are seeing the same thing, but I just feel like I'm seeing Amin Thompson put in conversations that I'm like, wait, hang on a second. I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel about that. If you've seen anything else besides mine, but
what was something that I sent? I feel like I sent it in our group chat. A little bit ago.
Yes, it was the other day. The pick aside guys were talking about how Thompson's game kind of reminds them of LeBron's. I think is what they said.
They said he's the most unique player in NBA history.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. That was ridiculous, because the entire NBA is 6'7" athletic guys, and the only difference is that Amen Thompson can't shoot. I think he's a really, really good player, but this is the problem with the NBA media. All these, all these talking heads that just look for a click, is that they make you kind of almost root against the guy before he arrives, because he put him in conversations he doesn't belong in yet. You hold these, mid to late 20-year-olds who either haven't won a championship or, haven't, made a deep playoff run to this super high standard. And then you get this 22-year-old that comes onto the league and is playing free because there's no expectations of him yet. And then people are putting him in those same conversations, and again, I think he's a really, really fun, exciting player. Again, another two-way guy. We love two-way guys, but I don't think that, I don't think he deserves to be put in any crazy discussions yet.
Yeah. I agree that that video individually was crazy, but I don't know. I definitely see it with Amen Thompson. The past month, he's averaging 18, 11, and 4. And then he's averaging 3.5 stocks a game. So, two-way guy, like you said. The most unique player of all time is ridiculous. That gets me upset. And what you said, John, it makes you root against the guys. But, I mean, I'm a big fan of Amen Thompson. I think he is – him and Sengun are the guys to build around on the in Houston. I think he's definitely more of a valuable asset than Jalen Green.
Definitely,
100%. Yeah,
he's gonna get a jump shot though.
Yeah.
You've seen you can't succeed in the league without a jump shot.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I believe in him more than I believed in Ben Simmons. By the way, when he
because he's he's shooting 25% from three, but he's at least willing to take some occasionally.
Yeah,
I just remember watching Ben Simmons in my college dorm. I'm just watching him struggle so much, and then going on Twitter the next day and people saying and Colin Cowherd saying he's a top 5 player. I just remember and people feeding into it. I remember getting to argue with my high school friends about it, and they were saying maybe he's not top 5, but he's definitely top 15. I'm like, no, he's not top 15. He's not even close. And it's just maybe that's what I'm thinking about it. It's just I'm seeing people say stuff jump on the train too early, which in the past I've been on the wrong side of that, where I've jumped on the train too late. I jumped on the train way too late with Shea. I jumped on it too late with Jalen Brunson, but I guess you could say I haven't really jumped on the full train of Jalen Brunson yet, because I still give side comments to any chance I get. But but I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's something that I need to work on is just trying to form my own opinions without looking at what other people have to say ahead of time. But then again, Kenny Beecham openly admitted he does the same thing sometimes. So that's what we do as humans. So cool. All right. So now we get into the fun part of the show, where we get to talk shit about some of our least favorite players being traded. I guess there's only one of our least favorite players. I guess you could say two, because I'm not really a fan of Bradley Beal either. But let's talk about the first guy. Let's talk about guy who has the guy who was the first player ever to bring his team to 2 finals. And how long has he been there? This is his 6th year. He's brought his team to 2 finals in 6 years. He's the first player to ever do that, which means that franchise owes him every single thing ever. They deserve to give him a big fat extension. I don't care that he's 35. Give him 4 more years. He's done so much for the franchise. He's won them so many games. And you know what? The Miami Heat, as a culture, like I don't mean to be the Heat culture guy, but the Miami Heat, they've also, what's the word? Like, they've been a historically bad franchise. You know, they've never they've never won without Jimmy Butler. They've never. They haven't had a pass. They don't have a granted all-time great GM. They don't, like, I don't say all-time great. Let's pause that. He's all-time great coach, not an all-time great GM. They don't have the best coach in the league. It's been all Jimmy Butler for the past 6 years, and it is utterly disgusting how the Miami Heat are treating him this way by simply just asking him to show up to work and not giving him a raise or an extension. I think that's purely pathetic about how they're treating him this way.
Yeah, I think we talked about it a couple of weeks back, and again, I'm not trying to gas up Pat Riley here because, you know, us and, you know, I'm no dad doesn't really like Pat Riley too much, but Pat Riley, like, is not impressed with finals appearances. You talk about a guy who was a coach in the Lakers, won 4 championships with, it was 5 championships with them, 4 or 5, 3,
5, yeah, 5. Yeah, I was trying to put my phone.
Yeah. 5 championships with the Lakers. He won 1 as a coach with the Heat in the early 2000s, and then 2 as president. He's not impressed with finals appearances. You know what? And I don't think it's as impressive to make a finals run as the 8 seed when you coast in the regular season. That's not what professionals do. And you know what's going to happen? Jimmy Butler's going to get traded to the Suns or some other team, and he's going to put out a cute Instagram picture about how playoff Jimmy's coming back. And then his body's going to shut down midway through a playoff series because he's played 25 games this year. And then that's going to be the excuse. And there's going to be another video that comes out in the offseason. Oh, this team would have got sent home if I was playing. Yeah, you're not playing because you never take the regular season seriously. And that's why he's not going to win a championship.
Very great points, boys. I think the way Pat Riley is handling the situation is hilarious, that he's just like,
suspending him all the time.
He's like, you're not gonna, you know, outman me. Like, I'm the bigger man here, and it's just like, you will never play another game for me. I don't care who we trade you for or anything. I was looking at trades like while I was super busy at work today. I was looking at possible trade simulators for Jimmy Butler. He's going to be impossible to trade. His contract is atrocious. He's old, especially with the second aprons, and seeing that you need a bench and depth to win a championship now. Owners are going to be hesitant to trade him, especially how he's handled team situations in the past. But the Suns did trade their 2031 first round pick for 3 first for the from the Jazz. So they're probably going to use that in trades and stuff like that. So maybe it'll be like a Beal, a couple picks. I don't even know who else the Suns would trade for Jimmy. Like who I don't even,
like, you can't trade for Fox.
No.
You know, would Fox work
Hell no.
with that team? I don't think so.
No.
And Fox, I think, is the best player on the block right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Easily.
But I don't think he fits in that system, especially if you have Booker, right?
Who would the Heat? I'm saying, like, who would the Suns trade as well as Beal for
Jimmy?
It'd be like
it would just be like surrounded by like a role player and picks. Like
someone,
it's
the role
contracts for 2 old players.
Someone else. I'm trying to not Nurkic. Someone else. I'm trying to think of who else they have, but
it would Tyus Jones. I don't think
it would be a Royce O'Neal, probably, maybe Grayson Allen.
I was gonna say Grayson Allen.
Yeah,
Monte Morris.
I'm thinking that it would probably be you got to. I was listening to the Ringer show this morning, and a few of the guys were saying it would have to be like a 4 or 5, like we don't, like, it would be more than 3 team deal, I think, is what would happen. And like I said, I've said this in the fantasy group yesterday. I don't have the patience to do more than 3 team deals. I think they're very annoying.
And 3-team trades, I feel like, never are like as cool as like
yes
as it's like planned out to be. Like there's always like it's always around like a couple role players. It's never like very rarely like, you know, superstar for superstar, and then like a third team just gets like the bench pieces, you know, because nobody wants to be like that team out.
Yeah, like I guess like the most involved the team was in the 3-team deal was actually the Suns when they traded for Yusuf Nurkic in the Damian Lillard trade, but that didn't really work out too well for them either. But Yeah, well, we get back to Jimmy for a second. Really, like if you really narrow it down, you think about all the top teams, the top teams in the league. So, think about like all the contenders, the teams that are going for it this year. The Caps can't trade for him. Or maybe they have to trade a bunch of salaries. Which I'm not trading Evan Mobley. I'm not trading Jared Allen. I meant to say Jared Allen because Evan Mobley is very obvious. I'm not trading Jared Allen a couple of these pieces for Jimmy Butler. The Thunder have a million trade assets, but they would have to trade Hartenstein, Dort, and a bunch of other role players, and probably picks up if we're being honest. Let's forget about what they can and can't give up. If things are going well for the Cavs, the Rockets, the Thunder, the Celtics, the Knicks, those are the top 5 teams. None of those teams would benefit from trading for Jimmy Butler at this point.
Nobody's a Jimmy Butler away from winning.
Nobody's a Jimmy Butler away. The only team that I think would benefit from Jimmy Butler is the Golden State Warriors. And I'm saying that mainly because they started off amazing. They gave their fans hope. They've fallen apart. They're on a 2-game win streak now. They've been better as of late. So maybe you give your fans some hope and say like, hey, maybe we can creep into the playoffs and maybe creep in as like the 6th seed. And then maybe we can like find a way to win a playoff series or something. So is it likely? No. But like the way that I'm also looking at it is if the Warriors already we already see the Warriors in a sense that they're not going to be really good for the next couple of years after this one, including because Steph's only getting older. So might as well trade for an all-star caliber player to who does have a track record of stepping it up in the playoffs. So just giving like the fans in the front office hope is like the only that's like the only team. Like it would be a desperate move for the Warriors to do that. That's the only team I think that would benefit for trading for Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, and I don't even think that. Like, I don't think that makes him a contender either, is what I'm saying. Like, I see a world where the Suns, like, teams that could talk themselves into being a Jimmy Butler away, and it would be the Warriors and the Suns, and I don't even know if there's other team.
Well, the Grizzlies,
Rockets,
but then
like, I don't think the Rockets would do that though. Like,
it's hilarious because the Rockets were considering trading for Jimmy Butler in the beginning of the year, but now the Rockets are good. They're like, okay, no, we don't need this guy. Like, are you kidding me? Like, yeah,
they would have to give up one of their young guys, and like, why would they?
Why'd you do that? Maybe the Sixers, like if they want to get off that Paul George contract, but if you're the Heat, why would you want to take on that contract unless you just really want to get out of that headache? The only other team I can think, no, I take it back. I was going to say the Magic, but no, like I'm not even going there with them either because these are teams that can get better, but they're not winning. They're not winning a championship. They're not even. They might make a conference finals run if they're lucky. So
what's your overall prediction, Chris? Where does he go? What's the next game? What team is the next team that Jimmy Butler plays a game for?
Pat Riley's a pretty guy. He's not going to trade. I don't think he's going to trade Jimmy Butler to the Suns. I think he's going to trade him to the Warriors.
He wants to go to the Suns.
Yes, I think he's going to the Warriors. I think he's going to the Warriors.
Okay,
it's going to be hard. Take. Yeah. I think it'll be maybe the Bucks getting involved. Maybe the Bucks are going to trade him to maybe the Heat. Maybe find a way to get Middleton. Maybe the Bulls instead throw Zach LaVine in the mix. I don't know. No one's talked about a Jimmy Butler reunion with Chicago yet, so maybe that'll happen as well. But who knows?
Yeah, because LaVine will be on the move too on the block.
Yep.
By the way, didn't mention LaVine for All-Star snub. That's he could have been.
He could have. Yeah, he could have. Yeah, that's very for sure. Well. Yeah. Cool. I guess we could talk about De'Aaron Fox now because that's a very interesting dynamic what's going on in Sacramento because it's funny because I get made fun of a ton for standing Rudy Gobert and Draymond Green and standing is the wrong word, but like who's another player that I stick up for? I guess Steph Curry would be another one. I don't get really made fun of for always standing De'Aaron Fox, which like I put him in my top 20 last year and no one batted
he's good.
No one thinks he's a top 20 player, but I put him in the top 20 last year. But yeah, no one batted an eye. I was shocked about that. But
so I think he's a top 20 player.
Most of the lists that I've seen leave him don't have him in the top 20. Like I rated him higher than most people. So yes, maybe it's because you guys like De'Aaron Fox is probably why. But
yeah,
Yeah. So I don't have to think about De'Aaron Fox because the Kings were finished as the 3 seed in 2023. The year after that, the West gets much better. The Kings lose 2 more games than the year before, so they fall off from the 3rd seed all the way down to the 10 seed and don't get out of the play-in tournaments. This year, they trade their worst player for an all-star caliber player in DeMar DeRozan. They off to an awful start. Everyone's calling them to fire the coach, which they ended up doing. Coach Christie, I'm a fan of Mike Brown, but like, yeah, he's going to make the proper adjustments needed. The Kings went on a pretty good win streak for a while there, and then they lose a couple games. And De'Aaron Fox, it doesn't seem like he's demanded a trade, but it seems like he seems like he's in the mood of saying like, listen, like things aren't getting better from here, and it doesn't look there's really a path away from here. So it seems like it's almost like a trade request saying like I don't think things get better from here. It's gonna be better for both of us if I demand out, which I don't agree with that. I don't agree it's best off for the Kings that they trade Fox because they've been, I think in my lifetime they've been, like, or at least maybe not in my lifetime, but definitely because like they're pretty good in the early 2000s, but definitely since I've started watching basketball, they've been the worst franchise in basketball. So it is sad watching a team that was the 3rd seed almost beat Golden State, almost beat the reigning champs in a 7-game series. It took a Steph Curry 50 ball for them to not win. So it is a pretty sad story, but the best GMs are ones that make decisions based on logic and not emotion, and it might be the logical move to try and blow this up while you can, but I don't know. Like, it's one of those things where I couldn't be a GM because it's like I don't know if I can make these hard decisions.
Yeah, you could blow it up, but De'Aaron Fox is only 27, and where do you have him for top point guards in the league? Like the conversations he's in are like, you know.
I think I had him. Like, point guard's a pretty stacked position, but like, yeah, definitely top 10. Probably like just outside the top 5 though.
Who like?
So okay, so Luka, Curry, Brunson, SGA. Is that it? I feel like I'm missing someone. Wait, SGA, Luka, Curry.
I think Fox has been better than Curry this year.
Brunson, I don't think he has been, but it's been close. But I don't think. I don't know. Like
I would probably have him 4 right now.
And he's only getting paid $35 million a year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's only got a year left, but like that's not a terrible cap hit.
I would. I think he's definitely the best player on the trade block right now.
Yeah. But what, like if you're the Kings, are you just gonna like I don't think Fox can be. He can't be your number 1 option. Like you're not going to win championship with him as your number 1 option.
No, but he'd be one of the best. Yeah, like no, that's very true. But again, earlier as I said, you're the Sacramento Kings. You're not the Celtics. You're not the Lakers. You're not the Warriors. You're the Sacramento Kings. You have to. I feel like you have to try to be realistic and try to win as many games as possible. Like you unfortunately don't have an all-time great. Not even all-time great. Like you don't have like a top 10 player on your team. It's tough to build around anyone. Like it's one of those scenarios.
How are they not better than they are, the Kings?
I think it's roster construction. They're like we just talked about how much we love Sabonis and everything, but at the end of the day, Sabonis and DeMar DeRozan, Keegan Murray. I don't know how good Keegan Murray is on defense, honestly. But yeah, what was it? Yeah, you don't either. So
maybe Fox and Sabonis, their stats are so good because. You know, especially Sabonis, we know he has like inflated stats. Like, maybe. Who else is getting boards on that team?
Yeah. So, and yeah, I know that Aaron Schroeder, aka Possible Chairs, always complains about Kevin Huerter. He's like one of the main guys in the rotation. So it's like so it's like one of those things where like Harrison Barnes was an awful player last year, and you just flipped him with DeMar DeRozan, and it's not always that simple. I thought it would be that simple this year because you're trading. I thought it'd be both addition by subtraction and also adding on another All-Star caliber player, but. It's kind of similar to what the Suns did with when they added Bradley Beal onto, which granted it's a different scenario because you have 2 ISO scorers, not 3. But I don't know. But as far as goes, which by the way, I don't know any Spurs fans. I don't know any Spurs fans in real life. I should say. They're saying like, oh yeah, we're not going to include Stephon Castle in your in any deals with De'Aaron Fox. Screw you. No, no, we're giving you a top 20 player. We'll negotiate. We'll take Stephon Castle. We'll take who else? Keldon Johnson. We'll take those guys, and if you wanna, we'll tell you who's untouchable and who's not. Like Stephon Castle, he's potential, but you tell me that guy's untouchable. I'm hanging up the phone if I hear like that type of attitude from the front office.
Yeah, I'm a massive Stephon Castle fan, Big East product, and a Jason
Yeah.
Tatum fan. So I really really like him, but I totally agree, Chris.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if we just overrate Fox. Like I think he's so good. Like him and Wemby would they would go from like, what are the Spurs right now, 11th in the West or something like
I
that.
think 12th.
I think they're like definitely a playoff team. I mean play in.
Yeah.
But like I think they're definitely like, because the West is pretty close too. But like that, and
So-
he's only 27, so that's like a couple years of his.
They're only
time
they're
for
only
that.
2.5 games out of the play-in.
Yeah.
So that would be interesting. But like, which team is falling off? Yeah, So Sacramento would be the team to fall off. Yeah, like it would take like an injury. Like it would take the Mavs. It would take the Mavs injuries eventually catching up to them. Which might happen eventually, but who knows? Especially if Luka doesn't come back soon, which I think he will. Actually, no.
Yeah,
Luka,
big Celtics Mavs rivalry.
well, we know that's when Luka's going to come back. Is when the Celtics play the Mavs very soon. I think that's in the next week or two, if I'm not mistaken. It's 1 week from tonight actually. So it'll be right when the pod starts. So that'll be.
He can get his 30 shots a game and lose.
Yeah. So San Antonio is one of them. I keep on saying the Magic mainly just because they're a team that has Paulo and Franz who are very good, who are great players. But unless you're Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, like having two wing guys isn't always going to work out. Like maybe you need I'm not saying I think both those guys are untouchable, but maybe doing like a trade around Jalen Suggs. Wendell Carter Jr. and like a couple others. KCP maybe, yeah. So I don't know if that'd be an interesting move to say the least. But and then I guess
trade anybody.
I don't think the Rockets trade anyone now. I think they're happy where they are.
Yeah,
I don't think I don't know what it is, but and again, like this probably has to do with me like waiting to give teams their flowers because I did the same thing with the Thunder. And I believe the Rockets are going to be good for a very long time, but they don't have a superstar though. And like Şengün's an all-star, obviously he just made his first all-star game, but like they don't have a. I don't even like Şengün's not a top. He's not a top, definitely not top 25, probably not even top 30 in the league. So I don't know. Maybe you do trade some of your other if you want to trade Jalen Green and a couple other pieces for Fox. Maybe you'd be willing to do that, but it sounds like they aren't. It sounds like they're pretty.
The thing is, for basketball, it's tough to be like pretty good for a while, with like especially with the new tax aprons and stuff like that. And they're super young, so they're not going to be able to pay everybody.
Sure. Yeah.
So maybe they wait for the off season to see like who's actually available instead of like mid-season trades. If somebody always loses pretty badly. So
right. Mm-hmm. I think my prediction is that De'Aaron Fox will not be traded by next week. I think we'll be talking this podcast next week, and I think he's still going to be Sacramento King. I think that's my prediction.
Yeah, I feel like it's too quick of a turnaround since the news came out.
Exactly. Is there anybody else you guys want to talk about before we dip the toes into the Celtics for a little bit? Because I don't think we're going to talk about either of those for a long time. But
was it LaVine? Did we talk about?
We talked about LaVine for a little bit, but
he's probably going to get traded. I think
he's going to get traded too. But I don't even know the name of the Bulls GM. But like they've waited literally 4 years too late to blow it up. It's so weird. Zach LaVine's had an awesome season. They got nothing for DeMar DeRozan. Maybe they could find a way to. Nikola Vucevic is playing better this year than last year. Maybe they could find a way to trade him, but they have nothing. They have Kobe. I like Kobe White as a player, but like I don't know if he's a player to build around. It's just it's kind of sad to see. Like they've been treading water for a very long time, and it's not like they're treading water where they're like there's a very 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 random team where it's like the Hawks in the late 2000s, early 2010s, where they're the fourth seed and then just treading water the entire time. They're like in the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th seed, treading water for the longest time. It's so weird.
Yeah, they fight the Hawks for the 9 and 10 seed every single year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the Bulls maybe trading LaVine to Golden State.
It's another, yeah.
I think he's probably a better fit next to Curry than Jimmy Butler would be, based on the fact that he's a better player. but I think the Warriors just have like that, like they have the pieces to make a move, right? I mean, you have like Wiggins would be a good player to throw in a trade like that. They have a lot of expiring deals. Like I wouldn't want to trade, Gary Payton, but you have like him, Dennis Schroeder. I don't think you really trade Kuminga for anybody because I think he's an important piece moving forward. But maybe Kevon Looney. Like they do have guys on like expiring deals that they could make a move for a player like Levine.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be a very last year's trade deadline was very quiet. The one the year before was very loud. Both KD and Kyrie got traded. The one the year before that, I believe, would have been the Harden and Ben Simmons trade, or was that the year before? I think it was. Yeah, it definitely was. But it'll be it's going to be a very interesting dynamic because like there are so many bigger names, not big names, but definitely bigger names that are on the market, including Bradley Beal, including Jimmy Butler, De'Aaron Fox, maybe even Chris Middleton. However, my one student who's a big Bucks fan doesn't want them to trade Middleton, so I'm not going to say his name, but it's but yeah, I think I'm going to take his advice. He's a great kid. So if he's watching this, he's going to freak out that I gave him a shout out. But okay, so yeah, I guess we can talk about the Celtics for the last 5 minutes. Yeah, we're well over time, but no one's coming on after us, so we're fine to go. But so before I start my little it's not going to be not going to go on for that long, but I just want people to know that I think John and Matt do know this, but I haven't really been tweeting a ton about the Celtics because I'm trying. I try not to. Despite probably if I try not to be too negative in general, especially when during when the team is so great. I have been getting a little hung up on certain things though. So John, and it's something that I think I realized today. John and Matt, why do you think I've been so stressed about the team lately? Like, what do you think it's gotten to me like to where I'm being so much more skeptical than you guys are?
I think that's just you as a fan. Like Dad made a great point the other day that when it's 4-2 in a game in October and Jaylen Brown misses a free throw, you start yelling at the TV.
It's not that.
I think that is exactly it.
No, it's not that. It's because that's another reason why probably I think I've been taking a look too much at the 40-20 tracker. I think that is why I've been so hung up on this team because they're currently in jeopardy of not passing the 40-20 rule. They have to go 7-4, which is a okay. They haven't been able to win at that pace for the past month. So like that's why it's stressful. That's why it's stressful.
Okay, well they've won at that pace for the past 6 years, Chris.
2022 they did not. 2023 and 24 they did. So the past 2 years they did, but the year before that they did not. But as of now, so they're playing who are they playing tomorrow?
The year before that,
2022 they didn't make the 40-20 goal. They made the finals though. They didn't make they didn't.
19 and 21.
Was that?
They were 19 and 21 in 2022.
That's right. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying like the pace you're looking for is essentially a 52 win pace over a season.
It's not just a pace. It's you have to be consistent the entire year. They need to win 40 games before losing 20 to win the finals.
No, I'm saying you need them to go 7-4
yes.
over their next 11.
Correct.
That is, if you account for winning percentage by 82 games, that's 52. It's a 52 win pace.
Yes.
So over however many years they've won at that pace.
Okay. Sorry, I'm not going to go based on 2022 and 2023 based on my projection on how they're going to play for the next 11 games, but I digress.
Okay, so let's base it off of the past year and a half. The same roster, same team.
Okay. So this is a team that has been amazing for the past year. They won us the title. We celebrated it the day after. Even after they won the title, I still spent all my summer debating why Jason Tatum is a top 4 player and why Jaylen Brown is a top 12 player. It's not like I've been acting like Felger and Maz for this entire time. Like I like to think of myself as a positive fan, but when I think that something's going wrong, I call it out. The Celtics have not been playing good basketball for the past month and a half now. Like I said 2 months earlier, it hasn't been that long, but they haven't won 3 in a row since in close to a month now. That's which should be the standard for a team that's supposed to win the title, and they just haven't been able to do it. I've been able to see a ton of that since the beginning of the year, and I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's a valid concern that they haven't been consistent. Championship title teams, they have to be consistent. Are they
not
better?
True either, though.
What do you mean it's not? What do you mean it's not true?
It's not true. There have been so many champions over the past couple of years that turn it on halfway through the year. The Warriors weren't that great in the year they beat the Celtics the entire time. They weren't that consistent.
True. Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah.
I'm just saying, you need them to win 7 of their next 11 games.
Yes.
That's a 63-64 win percentage. And over the past year and a half, they've been performing at a 74 win percentage. So I'd like to take the sample size of a year and a half compared to a sluggish month and a half.
Yeah, and by the way, like their horrible run that they have, Celtics net rating by month every single month. They started the year 11.3, then in November 10.5, December 11.1, and this month they haven't been playing well. You're right.
What about the record? What about the records in those months?
Since when? I don't have it up right now.
Net rating is very important, but their record has gotten worse.
5.4 through 48 games this season. The Celtics have 7 total wins of over 20 points. Last year they had 4 total wins of over 20 points. Their record in the last 12
they're
games,
9-6 in January.
Yeah, the sky is falling.
That's good. It's not great.
Yeah, it's fine. They're in a little rut. How are you possibly freaking out about this team?
I'm not freaking out. I still think they can win the finals.
You said they stink.
Them in their rut right now is still 60% winning percentage. Slightly below the 7 of 11 that they have to go. And that's like the sky.
Okay. I need you. Okay. This past month and a half, have you been watching that team and think that they're anywhere close to the team they played for the first 2 months of the season? Is it anywhere close? The way they've been playing.
That's not the argument, though.
Yes, it is.
The argument is that are they going to win a championship?
Yeah. And based on what I've seen, based on what I've seen recently, it's been the way they've been playing for the past month and a half, which is a large enough sample size.
Yeah, but it's a foolish argument to make to cherry pick a month and a half versus a year and a half.
Matt McCann looked at their worst stretch, literally cherry picking their worst 11-game stretch, and they were 6-5. So they would have to duplicate their worst stretch of the last 2 seasons in order to not get this 40-20 rule that you're freaking out about. You said
you like the 40-20. You like the 40-20 rule.
I know. I'm saying it's stupid. You're freaking out about it right now. They haven't lost 3 games in a row since May of 2023.
Since when has that been standard? That thank God we don't lose 3 in a row.
I'm just saying their little rut isn't that big of a deal. It's not even that bad.
Okay.
You're freaking out about like, oh, they've been playing awful and they have a positive net rating. 5.4.
Positive net. Are you hearing yourself?
Chris, Dylan Brooks had like 40 points the other night.
That shouldn't happen.
Crazy shit happened. He went.
That should not happen. That should not happen. We should not be allowing. We should hang on. We should not be allowing historical role players to go off on us. That should not be happening. It's a regular thing for us. It happened with Dylan Brooks. It happened with Caleb Martin. It happened. There was a big list of players. Players don't just get lucky against us. It's because we don't guard the role players well enough. That shouldn't be happening.
The Cavs,
that's
10-game sample size.
Way of doing things, though.
What?
You let those guys beat you.
Why?
That's the idea. Because statistically speaking, they're not going to do it all the time. They're going to do it occasionally. And if you play the Rockets 3 times,
it's been more than occasionally as of late.
And Dylan Brooks, no, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. They're above 500.
It's 10 games is a pretty big sample size according to AAH because he loves pointing out this 11-game sample size. Are the Cavs fans freaking out that they're 5-5 in the last 10 games? No. They're not.
They're also about to win their 3rd straight game with the Celtics haven't done in a month.
Yeah, there's that. So if they win tonight, they're 6-4 in their last 10. Guess what the Celtics are in their last 10?
What about their last 20?
6-4. I don't know what the Celtics are in the last 20.
They're like 11-11.
No, they're not.
I think they are.
Let me see.
This is only going by month, actually.
Celtics are what, 12-10 their last Celtics. What are we doing? Last 20 games?
So 1, 2, 3.
11-9.
Okay.
So you see how you're like moving the goalposts? The Cavs are 5-5, now 6-4 in their last
Caleb Martin did beat us by letting role players go off a 3 against us. It happens, and it will happen in the playoffs. It can happen in the playoffs if we don't take them seriously. The fact that role players don't beat you ever is it's just false. Role players win finals games for teams all the time.
Chris, you're not. That's not at all what I said.
When's the
I
last
said
time a role player won a series? For a
Caleb
team?
Martin.
I said last time. Other than that,
That's a good take, Chris. I like the Jimmy
Yeah.
Butler dig.
Yeah.
No, it's not a bad practice to focus heavier on better players and make the guys who are less likely to beat you because over the course of analytics is all about like generally speaking, and that's why sometimes it kind of bites you in the ass in like a playoff series, like with Caleb Martin. But sometimes you're going to get bit in the ass. Sometimes Dylan Brooks is going to go nuclear from 3, and that's just the way it is. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Next 11 games.
Okay, so the next 11 games.
I have it right here.
Okay.
I have it right here.
Okay.
We're going to go win or loss.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we're going to total it up.
Okay.
Let me put together my Excel formulas here.
by the way, do you think teams are like? Do you think they're just trying to get used to playing with Kristaps Porzingis as well? He's played 23 games this year, and he's left early in a couple. I think 4 of them. Maybe
You're acting like that. That's gonna be a reliable thing though. That he's gonna be able to play every single game in the playoffs.
No, but he'll be playing with more. He's definitely going to play in more games, and they're going to get more used to playing with him.
He's not definitely gonna play in more games.
What the hell is the matter with you? Kristaps Porzingis isn't going to play in more games than 23 games this year.
No, I'm talking about more games in the future. Like, yes, he can play more than 23 games. I'm talking about that in the playoffs last year, obviously.
He played like 4 playoff games last year, and they went 16-3.
And they didn't play anyone as good as the Cavs this year or the Thunder this year.
They went 16-3.
16-3.
They didn't.
It was great.
They didn't break a sweat.
And it was great.
Okay, so this year they go 16-7.
And it was great. This team is not playing as good as they were last year.
Because last year was
over the past month and a half
season.
If you're going to take into account the past month and a half, you have to take into account the month and a half before that, where they were dominating.
Do we?
Yes. What does the NBA playoffs start in December?
What?
They've been playing. It's a different team. What?
No, it's not.
It is so different. What? You guys watch as many games as I do, if not more, of the Celtics. What? You guys can clearly see they've been playing so much worse. What do you mean it's not the same team?
They've been playing so much worse.
Though. Just because they're playing worse does not mean it's a different team.
Okay, let's do your 11 game
February.
Yeah.
It's not even February.
Okay.
They're 33-15. They've lost 15 games. They've lost 15 games.
Okay. That's actually 3.
Here's the thing.
And you keep bringing up last year. No. You keep bringing up last year. That is 3. That is 3 less than last year already, and we're just over the halfway point through the year.
All right. So last year, historic season, right?
Yes.
Okay. John,
I think we all were.
You're the ones that keep bringing up last year, though.
Chris,
not me.
We are bringing up last year because it's the same roster.
Hold on,
bringing
John.
up last year is a bigger sample size than the one you're giving.
Hold on, John. It is not the same roster as last year. We lost O'Shea Brissett. Are you kidding me?
Maybe we should sign him back, honestly, because of the bench scoring that we need. Which
O'Shea Brissett is not going to bring.
Well, Chris, I think we would be more receptive to your take here if you said like a concern is the bench. And the bench has been a little worse than it was last year outside of Peyton Pritchard. Like Peyton Pritchard took a step, but like some guys took a step back. I think my whole take is this team obviously goes through Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, like Derek White is the X factor of this team.
100%.
Like when Derek White is
We're
on
on the same
his
page there.
game, they are never
Yes.
going to lose when he's on his game.
100% agree with that.
And I, as a loyal Celtics fan, have trust in Derek White to figure it out. I trust Joe Mazzulla. I trust all these guys. And I trust these guys
I
because
trust them
they
too.
won the championship last year.
Just because you trust them doesn't mean that you can't be optimistic. Though I'm trying to think of I don't know. I was going to think of another life example for that, but
Realistic.
yeah.
But I think realistic is I think you are overcorrecting your bias here.
Okay.
Like I think most teams, and look, repeating is hard. If they don't repeat this year, I don't like if they make it to the finals and lose to the Thunder. Is that essentially a failure? Yes. Is it like the craziest thing in the world? No. The league got better.
Yes.
The league got better. I don't really necessarily think the Celtics got worse. I think the league got better. And I think the Celtics are going through the ebbs and flows of a regular season that I think most championship teams go through. We just didn't really experience it last year because they were so good.
Derek White, over his last 20 games, the X factor, is shooting 41% from the field and 33% from three.
It's really that high.
That's one of his worst. And it's been better in the last couple. His three has been better in the last two games. He shot 4-10 last two games. Like Matt McCann said in the comments, not expecting a reversion to the mean is just pessimistic and wrong. It's incorrect. I added the last part, but it is extremely pessimistic. To say that Drew Holiday won't figure out shooting is pessimistic. To say that Chris Porzingis is going to play more games in the future is pessimistic.
So that part's true, but like the Drew Holiday does have a history of falling off in the playoffs. That is one thing to be worried about. To be worried about.
Last year.
He didn't last year. In this system,
not last year. I'm saying that everything went well last year, and it was awesome, and I give them full credit for it. I wrote a 2,000. It wasn't. I don't know how long it was. It was close to 2,000 word essay about why the Celtics team is one of the best of all time. Like it's not like I don't appreciate how great they are.
So it took an 11-9 stretch over 20 games to get you freaking out about them.
Yeah,
I think Drew Holiday didn't
regress.
Drew Holiday didn't regress in the playoffs last year because he wasn't expected to be the number 2 or number 3 scorer. He was the primary ball handler on that Bucks team and on that Pelicans team.
Right.
So if you slide him into the 4th or 5th option on a playoff team and tell him to just focus on defense and sit in the corner and handle the ball occasionally, that's why he didn't regress, because he was in a better situation.
Okay, so
Matt, are you pinging Matt's comments?
No, it's me. I'm doing it. Yeah, I'm the one that can do it. Yeah. So, and that's my entire thing. I'm not the one that's comparing them last season. It's you guys that they keep on bringing it up. Am I being overreactionary? Probably, yes.
Definitely.
No, not definitely. See, I'm gonna lose situation here because if I'm right, if I'm right about this, then the Celtics lose. But if I'm wrong about this, then I'm gonna be crapped on by you guys, unfortunately. But even though I've been the most optimistic Celtics fan for the past year and a half up until the past month, which
but you haven't been then.
Besides this past month,
it took a month, a little month rut where they had
a very bad basketball.
They had a 5.5 net rating.
It's not very bad.
They've been playing awful basketball. I don't care about the numbers. Watch them play. They've been playing awful.
No,
the Hawks game. They lost the Hawks game. The Rockets game. They lost to the Kings without De'Aaron Fox. They nearly lost to the Pelicans. They lost to the Sixers on Christmas. All those have been awful games.
I'm trying to look for the nearly lost column on the standings thing. Do you guys know where that is?
I just give you 5 losses.
Who cares?
4 losses. One nearly loss.
Playing awful. They awful is below
so
500.
4 losses
to their standard to Celtic standards. Awful is playing well more than above 500. Go ahead, Matt.
Are by 500.
You said I just gave you 4 losses since Christmas. By the way, not a lot of losses since Christmas. I'm going to say that out there. And Matt had another good point. Every game they're losing to are right down to the wire. They've lost more than 4 games since Christmas. I'm saying you're like, that's 4 losses.
I'm saying that's 4 awful losses. Like all those were games that we should have won.
So what were they? Christmas game bad. I think
the Kings without Fox. The Hawks game. That was a Friday night.
Who was out for the Hawks? Is that D White now?
Maybe.
Okay.
I didn't even say the Lakers. The Hawks game, which Drew and Jalen choked away, and then the Rockets game that we just watched.
Okay, so worst case scenario, like there's enough of a spread now in the standings that the worst case scenario for the Celtics is that they wind up a 3 seed.
I don't want that to happen.
Neither do I, but that's the worst case.
Okay. Guys, no, we can't go into Madison Square Garden as because we would lose to them because of how loud the Madison Square Garden is. They're so much louder than us, so we would lose to them. I had to bring you back. I did bring you guys back on my side somehow. So
all right, let's go through these 11 games real quick.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Fuck you, Matt. Yes.
You want to throw that up?
I will not throw that up. John, go through the games if you have them up. Yeah, no worries if you don't. Okay.
I do.
Hold on,
At
John.
New Orleans.
Hold on, John. You're counting the Kings loss because they didn't have Fox, but Jordan Walsh didn't play because he was sick. So throw that game out the window.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, John.
At New Orleans.
We should. Okay, we almost lost them, so we should win that one. Yes, let's check that as W. Yeah.
Sixers.
Win. Hopefully Embiid's gonna be out, but we'll see.
At the Cavs. Chris, I'll side with you since you are a Cavaliers fan. I'll give them Celtics a loss there. Even though I think that they will win that game.
Okay.
Mavericks at home.
Hopefully Luka's out, but it doesn't really matter because we still
Does not matter.
Yeah,
We
hopefully.
own them.
Yeah.
So what's that? 3-1. So we would have to go 4-4.
Well, let's go through it.
4-3. Yeah.
All right, 4-3.
Celtics at Knicks, practically a home game. Win.
All right, let's even say they
Celtics-
lose that game. They lose to the next
All right,
game.
all right. Let's say they lose that game.
So they have to go 4-2.
Celtics at Heat. That's a win.
Win.
3-2.
Spurs at Celtics.
Win.
76ers.
Win.
Win. And then, okay, so since we gave Celtics at Knicks a loss, Knicks at Celtics win.
Okay.
So
We'll split them.
Yeah. Okay.
Celtics at Raptors.
That's a win.
Yeah. And then Celtics at Pistons.
Well, if they win all the games we just said, it'll be tough for them to not get there. So hopefully it'll be before these next 11 games. If they get to 40-20, I'm going to be completely fine. I just want you to know that if they get to 40-20, I will be completely fine. I want you to know that.
Your logic infuriates me.
Okay, fine. My logic of literally the past 45 years of data that you need to win 40 games before losing 20, unless there's a lockout season in which there's a global pandemic, unless there's also the scenario where there's another lockout.
I'm a huge fan of the 40-20 rule. I think it's real, but I think to be like the sky is falling, you're running around like you're a chicken with your head cut off, and then if they go 7-4 in their next 11, you're like, we're fine. Like we're fine.
They haven't won. They haven't had that good of a stretch though. like recently.
In the last 12 games, they're 7-5.
Didn't they start off 19-3?
No, John, 16-3. Come on. But that doesn't count because it's not the month and a half sample size that Chris likes to bring up.
It's not the same team, guys.
John, that sample size is 19 games instead of 11.
Well, let's just total up this gigantic sample size of the next 11 games. If it were to happen the way we just described it, yeah. All right, I'll even give them a loss to the Pistons. 8-3.
Do you think that when's that Pistons game, by the way?
That's the last one. That's the 11th game.
The date I'm talking about, like, it's
February 26th, our sister's birthday.
Oh, nice. That's Tuesday, I believe. Tuesday, I think, or Wednesday, I think.
I think a Wednesday.
I think it's Wednesday. So okay, so yeah, day after we'll be on the show and talking about how hopefully the Celtics won their before when they're hopefully early in that they won their 40th game. But
hold on, can you pin Matt's last two comments, please, Chris?
Yeah, all we need to do is sign Prime Market Jordan, and then we'll be fine.
I like the other one that you didn't pin as well, but
Yeah, I'm happy I didn't put in that one as well, even though people could definitely see that on the live comment section.
I
Well,
think
Chris, I'm happy you gave me even more of a reason to root for the Celtics for the next 11 games.
If I'm right, I'm not. You guys have a lot to look forward to. Because like I'm not going to be the guy. I'm not going to be that loser. I'm trying to think. Yeah, like I keep on using Felger and Maz, but like like other Celtics fans, the ones the Jaylen Brown haters that were celebrating in 2023. The most disgusting fans on social. Yeah, like after that, they said like, "Oh, trade Jaylen." I'm not going to be. I have been on record saying though, like regardless if they win the title or not, that they can't bring back the same team next year, for money reasons, and I think that's going to happen even if they do win the title. Unfortunately, is one of, if not both, the Drew and KP are gone. Unfortunately, I think that's going to have unfortunately the scenario, and then who knows what happens in a couple years after that. Hopefully both the Jazz, definitely Tatum, hopefully Jaylen Brown will stay for a long time after that. But
all I'm saying, Chris,
yeah,
all I'm saying, don't come to the parade in June. Stay on that side. It's all right.
I mean, I probably can't come to the parade in June. I'll probably be working, but that's actually one thing. I was on the phone with Olivia earlier. We actually talked about how game one of the first game of the playoffs this year is actually on Easter Saturday. So we'll have to go to game 2 during the week probably if we're gonna go to a game this year. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to take off work. Hopefully, yeah, we'll see.
Game 2 during the week probably.
Yeah, we'll see, but cool. All right. I think we broke the time. Or maybe not actually. I think or I broke the time of us three being together for the whole episode, because like I think we may have been here a little bit longer when I was only on for half the episode when I was in the car. But yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, got my spent the last 25 minutes getting punched in the face, but wouldn't want it any other way. Cool. So oh, I just realized that I spent the entire. Did I really go the entire episode without the banner? No, I thought I definitely left it up, but I guess not.
Up, yeah.
It was up. Yeah, it must have been. I think it was probably when one of you guys hopped off for a second there. So okay, we got one more comment just to close out for the day. Celtics 2025 NBA Finals champions. I'm still on the train. I never hopped off. I just want to make that clear. But what?
We good, AH. Stay on that side. All right.
I never changed my pick. That's all I'm saying. I never changed my pick. That's I never did. So, okay. I feel like I had one more thing to say. Like, I didn't though. But yeah, like I'll just get my closing statement for now. Okay. So, John Matz, as per usual, thanks for coming on. Yeah, great episode. Definitely. Yeah, next week we'll be reacting to the trades that went down. Hopefully it'll be I don't want to say hopefully because like some teams might improve, but like it will be good content if we get a lot of trades going down, because I did that last year. It'll be a lot of fun. But up until then, this has been another episode of the All American Hoops Podcast. Make sure to follow me on all social media platforms, including Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. It is not banned for now. Hopefully it'll stay that way for at least the next few months. Also, be sure to follow @SportsFluence on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok as well. Subscribe to @SportsFluent on YouTube to catch every episode Thursday at 8 o'clock. But until then, keep grinding, stay hooping, kids. Have a good night.
Canada. Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.